All right, ladies and gents. So, I've had a lot of love on the post that I made about my bike, and I've had a lot of attention about the bags. I'll tell you guys first why I did the bags, so you guys know whether it's kind of the right move for you or not. Um, so, I was looking for, something that was obviously I'm not, afraid to spend a little bit of money on the bike, but I don't want to flush money down the toilet. The throwover bags that are offered by Thrashin and some of the other companies out there, they look fantastic. Actually, came extremely close to ordering all three sets of Thrashin's bags, so the Essentials, the Escapes, and the Expeditions, I think. But at the end of the day, what it boiled down to for me was, I wanted something that fit the look of the bike well, allowed me to carry a reasonable amount of stuff, and honestly didn't cost an arm and a leg. And so at any rate, the bags I actually kind of ran into on accident. I was on the Mechanix site looking to replace a couple of my OG sets of gloves that I use for different things. But at any rate, I was poking around the site and I found the bags, and I found them on sale. So I don't know a lot about these bags, but I'll tell you what I do know. For starters, it looks like they were originally intended to be like a pit bag or a roadside bag, and they had some general supplies in them. When I got them, they did not have that. So they were just basically the bags. And I think the price kind of reflects that a little bit, although I would say that the quality that you're getting is far, far greater than the price that you're paying for those bags online right now. So if I recall, I believe that the smaller bags were about 20 some dollars each, and the larger bags were 30-ish dollars each. Now granted, these bags, they're probably having a rough time selling them because there's not a whole lot of application for them. I think they have both sizes still in the red. So the small and the large in the red. And those are like a special edition. And they're for they're for one of the veteran charities. It's the one that runs the RED acronym thing. Anyway, that's beside the point. So the red and black bags, they have both sizes on the website still. I'm not sure, as of like the last time I looked a couple of days ago. They also have a set of they're like ghost gray. So I think they're, a little bit darker maybe than the bike. And then the black Mechanix logos all over them. Those are super cool. I think they still have yellow zipper pulls and stuff, but you can get whatever color paracord and some heat shrink and put whatever the hell you want on there, to be honest with you. I happen to think the yellow looks fantastic with the red. I got the red because I think it's a good color combo for the bike. One of my original ideas with the bike was to do a red accent. I decided against that, and then ended up going with the red bags anyway, so it's kind of dumb. But anyway, so I wanted to show you guys what you get when you order these, because I actually ordered two, so I ordered 3 bags of each size. I wasn't sure. At that point, I had taken some measurements, and I knew the big bags were going to be too large to use as a bar bag, so like for handlebar. I knew the small bags may not necessarily suit the need perfectly, right? And so my original intention was I wanted to order 2 of the large bags and 3 of the small bags. So I wanted to have one that if they came in and they were compact enough that I could actually mount one as a bar bag. Well, I'll tell you, these things are way too big to be a bar bag. Like, in no universe are you gonna make this into a bar bag. So that's kind of out the window. What they actually sent me was, they sent me 2 small bags and 3 large bags, which I would have never had a use for 3 large bags, but it turns out I kind of do. So at any rate, I ordered 2 of one, 3 of the other. they flipped the order around. I ended up getting 3 of one, 2 of the other. So I emailed them. They shipped me the 3rd bag that I ordered originally. And so now I've got 3 of each. And so this is what you get. So I actually have them out. So these are the ones, these are a set that I still have in the plastic. So I'm gonna pull out the plastic for you. But this is essentially what you get. You get this bag. I can slap a measurement. I'm actually sitting on my toolbox right now. So this is a little bit of a toolbox talk. So a measurement from, you know, I don't know, just kind of loosely looking at it. They're roughly, I don't know, 1.5 feet maybe wide at the base. They're about 9.5 inches wide. So from here to here, 1.5 feet. From here to here, they're about 9.5, and then they sit about, let's see, they sit about 5.5 deep. So I think, you know, I would say they're probably somewhat comparable to the Escape bags, maybe a little bit smaller, you know, maybe closer to the Essentials bags that Thrashin has. One interesting note, obviously the way you mount these things up is they're gonna end up being clamshell open. So I'll take this one, for instance. So again, this is the smaller of the 2 bags. And so you've got a clamshell set up here, essentially. So bag opens like this. So if you're looking for a top loader, this probably isn't the way to go for you. So this bag, this small bag has 2 compartments. So it's got the actual big compartment that clamshells open, and then it's got this other compartment that clamshells from the front. The way I found it most useful is I bring the zipper pulls up like this, and when I open up the small front compartment, I basically just do this and pull it down, and you can get a bunch of crap in there. Inside, there's a couple of zipper pockets, nothing to write home about. The clamshell section, it's actually super helpful. It's got a set of retaining straps that are you know, quarter nylon buckled in. You can adjust them, so you know, there's some ability to put some things in there if you need some retention, make sure it's not flopping around or whatever. Again, these weren't designed necessarily to be you know, saddlebags. I don't think anybody ever had that as an intended use for them. They just happen to work. And then the other side of the big pocket has a mesh screen that you can stick some other shit in, and that is actually separate from the small pocket in the front. So you get essentially three distinct compartments in a small bag. Then the front, it's got laser etched or laser cut. You know, this is that rubbery coated nylon, Cordura nylon. It's got, you know, it's supposed to be MOLLE compatible. I will say, I think the MOLLE standard is 1 inch wide, 1 inch space. So these are 1 inch wide and they are 1 inch space. So if you're mounting to a true MOLLE panel or something like that, this should be pretty easy to weave in. And I'll explain kind of the way I went with it a little bit. So at any rate, take a look at the back. So the back has some MOLLE compliant stuff in it right here. You can see it's mounted in a weird direction, obviously because the bag is meant to be carried like this. And then it's also got these quick detach straps, and I'll talk about these in a second, but they pop open, just a little spring-loaded deal here. Comes open, you push down on it, pops open, and it loads back up into here. These actually came in clutch. But anyway, so you get, on the small bags, you get 2 straps on the top and the bottom, and then 3 strap loops on the sides. So that's a small bag. Next, I'll move to the big bag. So I'm not gonna go super crazy, same MOLLE shit on the front. It's got a mesh pocket on the side. I don't know what I would put in there, honestly, if anything. And then you've got what amounts to basically 4 compartments. So you've got a front compartment that does not completely clamshell open, it just pops open. It's got some dividers, spaces in there or whatever. You've got this I think it's meant to be just a way into the smaller compartment that's in the second to large compartment. Then you've got the actual large compartment, and this thing flips completely open like the smaller bags. Same deal, you've got the strap retention, you've got the mesh panel. This mesh panel opens up to what this zips open to. And then in the very back, you've got I would imagine it was probably meant for a laptop, so a little laptop compartment. So, you know, sometimes, especially when things are cheap and you're like, look, if these don't work, because essentially the way I went at this was I was like, look, these bags are fucking rad. Like, no matter how you say it, these bags are rad. I would love to have them. I want them on my motorcycle. If they don't work on the motorcycle, then I've got 6 rad bags floating around my house for random shit, right? Give one to my son as a backpack. Somebody pointed out it looks like a kid's backpack. Thought that was pretty funny. And actually, I hadn't thought about that yet, but looking at the picture, it kind of does. Like the one that's mounted to the sissy bar, I would 100% agree. Looks like a kid's backpack. And so, again, you know, give one to my son as a backpack, throw one in my truck for, you know, random bullshit or whatever. You know, basically, if they didn't work, I was going to keep them. So I didn't really care. They were, you know, $20 each. So I was out, you know, with 90, a total. I only spent 5. So I only bought 5 bags. I paid for 3 of the small ones. That's $60. And then 2 of the large ones. That's another 6. So $120. And I ended up with 3 of each. And so I got basically an additional $30 bag for free. Or maybe Mechanix is going to charge my card in a couple of weeks or whatever if I don't return it. They weren't really that great about talking to me about it. They just kind of mailed me another bag. So we'll see. Anyway, so what I toyed around with, and I'm still probably going to make still probably going to try this. Like if I take a longer trip, my original idea was that each one of the bags, the large bags, would be a saddle bag. And then these would be like maybe my everyday bags if I decided to go that way. And I was just going to mount them, you know, like this on the bike. Well, as it turns out, I'm an idiot. And if I mount these bags, because they're all the same, they're not mirror image of each other. So if I mount these on the bike, one of them, the ass end faces forward. The other one, the front end faces forward. So it looks a little goofy. Honestly, like I may get into a pinch where I'm taking a trip and I want to swap the bags out, and I may not give a crap what it looks like, honestly. We'll see. I mean, I've got tons of backpacks and duffel bags, and I know how to load a bike down. So, you know, at the end of the day, like, I mean, I've literally taken, you know, I've taken cross-country rides with my old, I had a bagger, and I packed everything, basically everything that I needed in, you know, a duffel bag, a backpack, a bedroll, the whole 9 yards, and that was on top of my fender. And I don't recall putting much in my saddlebags, to be honest with you. Just because nothing that I wanted to pack in there was going to fit, so I stuffed some random shit in there. But for the most part, it was more or less empty in the saddlebags. So, but anyway, these ended up turning out fantastic for the saddlebag use because they are pretty well proportionally shaped, no matter which way you flip them. So flip them this way, they open great. Flip them this way, they open great. They look fine. The only thing that you notice is that on one side, the scripting goes the other way. So whatever, I don't, I care how it looks, but I don't care that much. More of a, you know, form over function kind of guy, or a function over form kind of guy. So, but now I got these 3 big bags, and I'm like trying to figure out what to do with them. I never really had an intention of using one as a sissy bar bag, and to be quite honest with you, I might actually take the sissy bar off at some point, but I knew I wanted to hard mount them. And so the next thought in my head was, well, they're MOLLE compatible. I think the easiest way to do it would be just to get a MOLLE panel. And so I'm like looking at like, should I make my own MOLLE panel? And then it occurred to me that like all the Jeep people, the Toyota people, the Bronco people, like basically everybody with a vehicle that that is painted, you know, flat dark earth and you know, has a million jacks and all kinds of crap on it, and they're ready to go to war at all times, you know, they keep MOLLE panels all over their vehicles. They bolt that shit to everything they can bolt it to. And, you know, to each his own. Like, I think it's pretty rad to look at. I don't know that I would do it, but They definitely look rad. But anyway, the Molly obviously is compatible, and so I started shopping around, and they sell that crap all over Amazon. What I ended up going with is one of the aluminum Molly panels that is meant to strap to a like a backrest for a truck seat. And then I actually got another plastic one to strap to my bars because I'm running a Molly Maxpedition bag for my bar bag. Again, just to be a little different, you know, I might end up buying a thrashing bag or something. I think I bought the X-Fill 3 or the X-Fill 8, and I wasn't super pleased with it, honestly. It was a bit too bulky for my needs, and it looked kind of goofy, so I ended up sending that back and getting a refund on it. But the Maxpedition bag is perfect. It holds, you know, wallet, phone, key fob, the random stuff you'd toss in a bar bag. But anyway, so to rig these things up, my original idea was for these was to find some way to molly it in. It actually turns out that's not the best way to do it. So the other thing that I ordered at the time was one of those big grab bags of just random molly accessories. Like basically, like it was like a 50 some piece set, and it just came with a bunch of bullshit. And most of it is cheap plastic crap that you would never use. But a couple of things turned out to be pretty cool. The hook rings and the D-rings that I used to actually support and tie down the bigger bag on the sissy bar came from that kit. I also ordered a bunch of like Cordura nylon with like a roll of it with Velcro, you know, sewn onto it. And so what I ended up doing was I actually took these off the bag, because then I was toying around with the idea of actually just using these straps. I was like, well, I got these straps, and I can basically weave the straps through the molly and then cinch them down, and it should hold fine. In theory, that's a good idea. The problem is you've got 10,000 miles of extra strap that I didn't want to cut, and then these stupid ass buckles. So I was like, well, I like the idea of the straps, but I want something that's a little bit more low profile. And so what I did was I actually took these off the bags and fished this off, so you'd pull it out, and you end up with just this little buckle guy. And if you look real close in there, you can see that you could actually weave some nylon strapping through there. And so that's what I did. I got some nylon webbing with some Velcro on it, and I actually used it this way. And so I have the D-rings opposing each other, and I toyed around with the lengths. I cut it to fit, hooked it on both sides, and basically pulled it to where I could weave it through the molly on the molly panel, and it was just hanging down to be able to fit here. Because these things are meant to kind of push back a little bit, these actually pop right through that molly panel perfectly. And so once I get them hooked up and strapped in, I can, you know, kind of adjust the Velcro straps to get them where I want them, and they're set. So I can then just thread these onto this bad boy right here. And so I mean, I think as an everyday on and off, like, you know, hey, I'm running to the store, I want to throw my bags on. What I would probably do, and what I probably will do, is actually get another piece of, you know, trim up some more nylon webbing, or maybe come up with a more elegant solution. This was just kind of a first run at it, and I'm sure I'm going to adjust this setup as I go. But basically use this to strap the other, you know, so in place of the bags, right, to be more or less like a ballast, right? So I don't lose my Velcro, but I also don't have to like unweave it through the, you know, through the molly. I can just take the bags off, put the Velcro strap on there, cinch it down, and, you know, it's black on black, so you never really see it. The way I mounted them, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You know, locate the molly webbing where you want it and mark some holes. There are some pre-marked holes in the one that I bought. They did not line up, obviously, with the subframe mounts or the fender mounts. If you get a set of 1/4 inch chrome 3/8 OD or ID spacers, those are a perfect standoff if you're not using a sissy bar. So each bolt, take your stock bolt out, drop the spacer in the place where the old bolt used to countersink into, and that stands them off just enough that you have room to work behind them, and they're sucked up close to the fenders, so it looks really good. For my purposes, I was mounting a sissy bar, and I wanted a little bit more room, and so I actually went with, I believe, a 1/2-inch chrome spacers. And it could have been chrome, could have been black, but I just went to Ace Hardware and bought some chrome spacers. Anyway, so drilled some holes into molly panels, mounted them, slapped them right up to the sissy bars, bolted them in, and they're rock solid. Now, am I going to throw 50, 60 pounds of weight in these things? No, probably not. Could I get away with what you would expect to be able to toss in one of these reasonably? So, like a couple of cans of beer, maybe a small tool pouch, pair of gloves, cell phone, handgun, if that's your thing. Well, I mean, it's all of our thing, but, whatever it is that you'd want to toss in there. I wouldn't overload them, but it seems to me like so far the solution that I've come up with can pretty well handle the weight. So, so I mean that really, it is what it is. Beyond that, it's up to you. I mean, I did it my way. I'm positive somebody's got a better way to do it. I'm not a fabricator, I'm a mechanic. In fact, I'm a terrible fabricator. It's one of the reasons I don't do it for a living. But yeah, if you've got a better solution, man, put it up. If you get these bags or something like them and you come up with a more elegant solution than I did, I'm not afraid to try something else out that somebody else did. Again, I'm not the smartest guy in the room. This just happened to work for me. All the parts were available. I happen to like the way that it looks. The function is fantastic. The bags are rock solid on the molly panels. The molly panels are rock solid on the bike. It provides a fantastic place to strap the sissy bar bag down to. Jury's out on the sissy bar bag still. I think, I probably won't run it every day, and then if I'm not running it every day, I probably will take the sissy bar off, and I might just kind of leave those two relegated to I'm going on a long run, or I'm going cross country somewhere, or I'm going camping or whatever, and I want that extra space. And honestly, at that point, I may even opt for a better solution anyway. So these bags may end up becoming truck bags or whatever, but the small bags are definitely there to stay on the bike. So like I said, good news for you guys, they make them in gray for those of you that don't like the gaudy red. And I was really torn about it, to be honest with you. I almost ordered everything in gray as well, just so I could test it out and see how it looked. And to be quite honest with you, I might still do that if you guys don't go and buy up all the bags before I have a chance to do it. So this solution is not for everybody. The throwover bags are fantastic. I've seen a lot of really cool setups. They look really rad. One of the other reasons I did it, and I don't think it's a problem anymore, is when I was sourcing parts, everything from Thrashin was on back order. So their bag brackets and everything, and I think those guys are relatively good, but I wanted something, I was doing this build, I wanted to button it up, and I was like, if this doesn't work, I'll buy the Thrashin bags later, or I'll buy a set of Viking bags, or whoever it is that has the best bag. From what I've seen, it seems to be Thrashin. It's got probably the better bags out of everybody, but yeah, this is it, man. This is a solution. Thanks for everybody that reached out and showed some love on the bags, on the bike. I had a fucking blast building it. This is definitely not my first rodeo by any stretch of the imagination, but this is a special one because I don't build many bikes for myself, and so this one was just for me, and it ain't going nowhere, and I'm happy with it. And yeah, so any other questions? I guess I'll post them below or up top or to the side or whatever, wherever this ends up looking. Yeah, hit me up if you got any questions, if you got a better solution, any suggestions, let me know. Thanks.